Okay, I'm going to talk about how to use StatCrunch to do some basic summary statistics that you will need to do in section 3.2. So let's go into Tools for Success, open some data sets using StatCrunch. Let's go into 3.2 and let's find a basic data set to look at. All right, so this is just a list of weight in grams, and there's a lot of data points in this particular data set. There's 50 data points. So if I want to run some basic summary statistics on this, finding the mean on my calculator would take a while. I'd have to add up all the points, divide by 50. Not hard to do, but just kind of cumbersome. StatCrunch makes it easy for us. I go Stat, Summary Statistics. They're in columns, and I'm going to select the columns and then select weight. And if all I want is the mean, I'm going to click mean, make that blue, and I'm going to hit mean, and the mean of this weight grams is 0.8746. And go back again, Stat, Summary Stats. Let's see what are some other things that are available. N is the number of data points. Mean is the mean. I'm going to flip over variance standard deviation for a minute. Median, the number right in the middle. Range, the min, the max. Q1, the Q3. Sum, the IQR, the interquartile range, and some other things. So if I want all of these, if I click on the N, and I let that be in that dark blue, and I hit the Control key, and I scroll down to the end, and we're never going to use skewness or kurtosis in this particular class, so I'm not going to worry about that. But actually, I don't want to use the Control key. I'm going to hit N, and then I'm going to hit the Shift, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm getting everything through the unadjusted, and I'm going to hit Compute. But I didn't select my column, so I need to select my column here. All right, so let's talk about what all these things are. N is the count, and here's the mean. Now, this is variance and standard deviation. Now, in this particular book, we talk about sample variance and sample standard deviation. And we also talk about population variance and population standard deviation. Now, population variance is a measure of variation. It's really just a measure of variability and how far each data point is away from the mean. Okay, so when we talk about population variance and population standard deviation, we are dividing by N, or the total number of data elements. In this case, N is 50. And if you're using StatCrunch to calculate the population variance and the population standard deviation, you want to use the unadjusted variance and the unadjusted standard deviation. And if you look, these numbers are a little bit smaller than the ones called variance and standard deviation, because the unadjusted variance and the unadjusted standard deviation are dividing by big N. The ones that are called variance and standard deviation are divided by N minus 1. And these are really using the formulas for sample variance and sample standard deviation. We don't need to worry about standard error. That's sort of beyond the scope of this course. But I am going to talk about a couple other numbers. The median is the number right in the middle. And an odd number of data points in a data set, if you have 5 data points, it would be the 3rd data point. If you have an even number of data points in a data set, you take the 2 middle numbers, add them together, divide by 2. The range is the biggest number minus the smallest number. The minimum is the minimum number. The max is the maximum number. And then there's something called Q1 and Q3, and this goes into the 5-number summary of data you talk about at the end of Chapter 3. So you have your min and you have your max, and then you have your median. So you have your min, then you have your median, which is halfway in between, and then you have your max. Then you have something called Q1. Q1 is halfway in between your min and your median. Q3 is halfway in between your median and your max. Over here is something called the IQR, which is the interquartile range, and that is found by taking your Q3 value and subtracting your Q1 value. So really, in a nutshell, that is how you do some basic summary stats. But if we just went into a simple problem in 3.2, let's go to question 5. And let's get a similar exercise. And here it wants the range, sample variance, and sample standard deviation for strength and concrete and PSI. So it gave us our list of data, and next to this list is this little blue box. I can click there, and I can click to open my data in StatCrunch, and there's all my data in StatCrunch. So from here, I can go Stat, Summary Stats, Columns. I wanted the range. I want to scroll down and get what I wanted. I wanted the range, and I'm going to hit my control key. I wanted the variance, the sample variance, and the sample standard deviation. And once again, I forgot to select my variable. Hit compute, and there it is. Excuse me. And then from there, I can just copy those numbers in. And I keep losing them, but one nice thing is you can highlight, you can Control C and Control V that into your data set. So hopefully that gets you started on 3.2 if you haven't already figured it out. But I don't want you spending time doing 3.2 by hand. I will also be putting up another recording on 3.3. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great night.